phenomena. NICAP was the most prestigious organization in the country investigating UFO phenomena. Len then moved to Hartford, Connecticut, where he joined American Philosopher Society. Upon the death of the founder, Shrivel Benton Len became the president of the society. And anyhow, his website is www.etsecrethistory.net. He's got some books out there and a whole bunch of stuff, and we'll let him tell you all about it as we bring him aboard on Late Night in the Midlands. Tonight we'll take questions later, call-ins, and of course in the chat, either or. So all right, let's do this. We'll bring them on and let's see where we're headed as humanity, or see where humanity is headed, that is. It's ringing, folks. At least it looks like it is. It's ringing. It shows he's there, so give us a minute, folks. Who knows? Skype could be acting up too. I don't know. I don't think so. It looks like it's ringing. Let's try this again. For some reason it's not picking up. I tell you, there's days when I think it might be a wise idea to bring a screener back. They can have all this figured out before I get here. Alright, so far I'm not getting a pickup here. I don't know why it's showing green. Maybe, anything can happen. Could have spilled a drink on him, had to get up. Those things have happened to me in the past. Let's see, I'll have to check email here, make sure nothing went wrong. But it's showing he's in the green. Well, if this keeps up, I'm going to have to go to a break for a moment so I can take care of this. All right, let's give him a minute and then I'll try back. Folks, it just keeps ringing. I don't know why. Let me try to send him a message here. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not getting through at all. I wonder why. Oh, hey, live radio, right, folks? Isn't this nice? My affiliate's got to be loving this right now. All right. Well, let me go. See, here's the thing. Once I go to something else, that's it. I don't come back, even if the guest shows up. So that's why I'm trying to give him as much time as I can, because otherwise I'm just going to have to go a different route, and that's going to be it. I don't know. I'm going to give it one more shot here, folks. I suppose I could try the home phone too. While we're at it, why not, right? We're supposed to do this on Skype though, but we'll see. Let's try. Can't say I didn't try everything. Here we go. Last effort right here.
The number you are calling does not accept
yeah, of course. Oh, all right. Well, I did what I can. Nope. All right, folks. Well, let me take this break and we will be right back. This is Late Night in the Midlands. I'm Michael Vera. Don't go away, folks. Don't go away.
listening to the song of a siren. I'm watching the trees where the troops went in. It's old news to the TV man. This ship's burning, no one's giving in. Some things weren't aired, but I saw the report. Lunatic dwarfs caught in a storm. I'm standing still in the middle of Brazil with the dirt underneath my fingernails. The dark-skinned women are milling by. It's getting real hard, I'm biding my time. Girl, you told me all I do is lie. But now I got the truth stuck in my mind. Some saw red devils outside of town, but now the carnival's here, it's filling with crowds. I'm standing still in the middle of Brazil with the dust blowing through my bones. There's revolution in the streets. There's no money and the backmen are free. I've been waiting for lights I saw in my dreams. Girl, you were right, it's all about me. Some say the Mona Lisa smiles a certain way. There must be a plastic somewhere in my brain. I'm standing still in the middle of Brazil with the eyes running cold through my veins. I sound out of my head and I talk the talk. They say you're crazy to believe at all. It means nothing.
All right. I am back, and folks, this is Late Night in the Midlands, by the way, and I don't know what is going on with him, but it shows he's in the green, and we had spoke, so he knew he was coming on, but we'll have to, I guess, if we'll see what happens, we'll reschedule. Who knows? Maybe somebody got to him. I don't know. But that being said, I've got Dr. Rand joining me in just a couple of minutes. I'll bring him aboard with us, and who knows where we'll go. We'll open lines for sure. And I put a message out there to Robert, too. If he wants to join us, he will. But I haven't heard from him. So, hey, I got to do what I got to do. And, of course, it happens on a night when Autumn's not here, so I couldn't have her go make the call for me. So, anyhow, folks, LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Go on over, become a member, be informed, and inform others. And somebody said, what did you do? Well, I'll tell you what we did. Daryl said it best. We shot down the Galactic Federation of bullshit. That's all. That's basically what we did, folks. So go check out that article. Man, I'll tell you what, listening back to that it's just something else. It really is. But, I have emails galore. I haven't even got through all my emails. And so, people asking, well, where can I read it? Where can I go to the website? Everything's not YouTube and Facebook, folks. We do have a website, LateNightInTheMidlands.com. I prefer you go there than Facebook. Anyhow, So we're going to bring Dr. Rand on. We're going to have a conversation about something. I don't know what. Planet X always comes up. Who knows what else? And, oh, yeah, that's right. I got the schedule up now. So there's people who complained about that, too. It's like, geez, I'm one man. I am one man. I do the best I can. Now, Jolene's a webmaster, but she doesn't go and put the schedule up for, she's not my slave. I mean, she just does the difficult stuff with the website, and I get to do the easy stuff. So the schedule is the easy stuff. That's on me. And, you know, again, one person. We spent a lot of time. This whole investigating thing, some people, oh, why did you wait so long? Why did we wait so long? And I'm talking about it because I've read some messages. So, you know, I'm answering people. Rather than type it all out, I'll just say it on the air. I mean, it took time. We had to, you know, first off, they raised some red flags when they started attacking guests. And then we had to investigate. We want to make sure things are right. I'm one of those people who, I mean, there's other stuff that we found too, but you know what? I can't back that stuff up 100%. So I won't go with something unless I can. And so, yeah, as I said in the article, in the blog, I said, you know, I let the dogs out and they dug some holes. They sure did dig some holes. Anyways, you know, folks, we got to stop this. We got to make a decision here before I bring Dr. Rand on. Are we trying to get to the truth, or do we just want a wild story? Which is it? I mean, that's what I want to know. Are we trying to get to the truth, or do we want a wild story? It's one thing if somebody gives us a wild story, but you know, who am I to say it didn't happen to them if they really believe it? But when you find out people are making up things like their names, their backgrounds, and that stuff's being created out of thin air, I mean, come on. Hey, is this what you? I mean, if you want that, you know whose show you can go listen to. You can get that all the time. I won't mention his name. Looks like Miss Doubtfire. Anyways, let's go ahead and bring Dr. Rand on, shall we? Now he'll talk about Planet X. Is Planet X truth? I don't know. That's why we talk about it. Some say no, some say yes. I say we'll find out, I guess. Good evening, Dr. Rand. How are you tonight?
Great. I hope you're hearing me okay.
Oh, you sound good.
One of my 4 rescued kitty cats has dragged off my alternate headset, and I tried to talk to them, and they both gave me the tail. You know, like, oh, the hell with you. You know, you're on your own tonight.
Actually, this
so how are you, Michael?
Well, you know, I'm good. I'm really, really good. Had some things. I mean, it's been one of those months. We had my main computer went down. Thankfully, we had great people who helped, and we got another one put in place. Got that going. Then I had some bad people who were passing out bad lies. Spent some time dealing with that. But other than that, doing great. I mean, health-wise, I'm fine. No witches have put curses on me yet.
So are the trolls behaving?
Yeah, for the most part. They're not too bad. I gotta be honest, I haven't had too much of that lately. Just had an incident where we busted some people in some big lies, and of course they got their minions and trolls, but even they've not been a problem. So I think people, some people, they see the truth, and maybe sometimes it slaps them awake. But
that's true. That's true.
Hey, Doctor,
I've always been a.
Oh, go ahead.
I've always been a big proponent on what goes around comes around.
Well, yeah, I agree. I agree. That's true. That's actually one of the people. Every time you were on the show, would come into the chat room and yell at you because you haven't addressed Sergeant. There's a sergeant that you're supposed to address, or you can't have the truth, huh?
What sergeant? What? Who is this sergeant?
Well, the sergeant lost her badge, so. No more. But anyway,
sorry about that, guys.
There's a lot of planets being found out there, Dr. Rand. They're talking about a planet. They're talking about a planet 10 now.
Well, actually, there are thousands and thousands of them out there.
Yeah, but
why are we so surprised?
Oh, I'm not surprised at all.
Do you have any idea how absolutely mind-boggling the universe is? Seriously. See, well, okay, I got a great idea.
Yeah, we have no
great
plan
segment.
tonight, right? So I'll tell you what, wherever you want to go.
No, we just spoke a few minutes ago. There's nothing being rigged. Oh, I love that, rigged. You know, everything's being rigged in politics, right? Well, you and I haven't rigged anything, and for the past 2.5, 3 months now, I have been diligently pursuing writing and finishing my next book. If you remember right, I said to you some number of months ago, maybe a year ago, I said, I'm not sure I have another book left in me. I mean, getting through that whole exercise with Planet X, and, you know, the 7.5 years of researching it, and then a couple of more years writing it, and then, you know, struggling to get it published and get it into distribution, and then being so viciously attacked, I thought to myself, you know what? I don't need any of this crap, okay? I just don't, all right? And then, of course, the little voice comes and says, you chicken, you know what? You go hide behind because you feel that you're being picked on. Well, in talking to a lot of other authors, I realize it's very common to be torn apart. It's very common to be attacked. First of all, none of these people have ever written a book. They have no idea what it's like doing the research and then the rewrites. My gosh, I must have rewritten Planet X 6, 7, 8 times over that 7-year period, you know. So anyway, I said, nah, I got other things to do. I'll go play tennis or go bowling. You know?
Yeah.
So then, you were so kind enough to unite Professor Kling.
Oh, yeah.
And after reading his book, I said to myself, you know what? I think I need to do take another stab at this. So I went into I started to write this current book. By the way, the title is The Reality Engineer. Okay. And I'll bet I've started this book 15, 20 times over the last 25 years. What it is, I finally decided to tell the story in its entirety of my experience at age 11 up in Canada, being on the ship, the Archimique. And the whole discussion of me being a contactee all the way back to when I was like, as we've told the story with you, from age 3.5 to 4 to 6, 7, and then 8, and then it finally stopped just around at the end of age 8, going into age 9. The teleportation and the telemetric discourses ended, and of course I felt, you know, what did I do wrong? Because I was really getting into it. You know, at that age, 6, 7, 8, and 9, everything that happens to you, you either remember all of it or you remember none of it. Okay? And I remember everything.
And we've got Robert on the line, too. Robert, you're on the wrong line. I need you to call the other number, 803-392-4566. So get me over on that one. Oh, now what happened? Now Dr. Rand dropped. All right, let's try this again.
That was my bad, Michael.
Good. I'm glad it wasn't me.
No. I was trying to push the phone further up into my desk because I wanted to make some notes for tonight, and I accidentally touched the receiver, the handset, and it disconnected the call.
Oh, okay.
I apologize.
All right.
We're talking about Robert.
Yeah, he's going to be joining us too here in a minute. Just
okay.
So we'll have a party.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
But go ahead. You were talking about.
So I decided after some soul searching, and it took me better part of a year to decide, do I really, really want to do this or not? Because I know that the barrage of attacks is going to start again. I just know it. Maybe not. But I thought to myself, you might as well share that experience, because it was something that completely, obviously changed and guided my entire life. So, after Mr. Kling and I did so many shows together, and then he sent me his book, and he was telling me of how excited he was about being with Neely Worldwide Publishing. And of course, you guys are affiliated together. So I asked Peter if he would kindly contact the Neelys on my behalf and introduce me, and he did. And so I called them, and much to my pleasure and much to my surprise, of course they knew who I was. Of course, at that point, I didn't know that they were affiliated with your network, and that they've worked with you in the past.
Well, I published my book with them as well, so.
Yes, so we got along really well in our initial conversations, and I had already been working toward, I already had about 75 pages done. This was probably 2 months ago. And to be honest, I only get 2 or 3 pages a day that are what I call keepers. Now, doesn't mean I throw away what I've written, but I'll create 2 or 3 pages, and then I'll take the next day or two, and I'll double check myself and look at the structure and look at the grammar, and I'm not one of these. I'm not an Ernest Hemingway. I heard stories that he would sit down at the typewriter, put in a piece of paper, and he would just type, and it would come out perfect. Now, first of all, I can't imagine creating a book on a typewriter.
Me either.
I mean, I am so locked into this computer thing in writing the book, because I must make changes 4, 5, 6 times a day on a page. I can't imagine retyping that all the time, or scratching it out and rewriting over it. It's bad enough when I do my proofreading. What I do is I'll print out the pages that I've printed. That I've written, okay? And I have this really nice red fine point pen, and I'll get up from my office. I'm in my office now talking to you, and I'll go into the kitchen. I've got a really comfortable kitchen set, and I'll make a cup of tea, and I'll sit there, and I'll edit what I've just written. So I've already got, red ink bleeding all over the page of all my changes. I just can't imagine somebody sitting at a typewriter and banging out a book. They say that he wrote The Old Man and the Sea in 30 days. Now, a little story about that. I had a chance, well, I had many chances, but I had one evening I had a chance. I actually got to stay overnight in the room that is still maintained at the Bimini Hotel on North Bimini Island, where he maintained a residence. In other words, he maintained a room there 24/7, 365 for a number of years, and that's where he supposedly wrote one of his most famous books, The Old Man and the Sea, absolutely brilliant movie. Anyway, the typewriter is still there. His desk is still there. The bed is still there. Now, of course, I'm sure that the linens have been updated, but I had a chance to sleep in the bed he slept in, and it was a rare opportunity because they never allow anyone to stay in that room. But I was friends with Mr. Jim Richardson. God bless him. He's left us, and he's pilot from World War II. Boy, did he have stories. He had 3 planes shot down underneath him, but that's another whole story. And he walked away from every one of them. Anyway, he's the one that taught me how to fly. So
you fly too, boy. You're like Thurman Thomas from the Bills. There, you're full of just so many things. People you've met, things you've done. My God,
I have had a wonderful, exciting, event-filled life. I've met 4 presidents that I personally interfaced with in meetings and talking. And of course, the one that meant the most to me was when I spent close to 4 hours with President Kennedy and his wife Jacqueline at a fundraising dinner in Chicago in April of 1963. That was the same year that, as you know, he was killed. He was killed in November of that year. But anyway, yeah, I've had a wonderful life, and I'm still going to write. Okay, I know I'm shifting around, but that's what we do, Mike.
We got Robert on the line with us, too. So
Robert's on the line,
yes.
Is he?
Robert, welcome aboard.
Hey, Rob, what's going on?
Dr. Jason, how the heck are you, man? I haven't heard you in a while. I hope you're doing well.
I
guess
really well.
Wonderful. I guess so. You are writing a new book. This is wonderful.
I am writing a new book. I would say I'm about 60% done with the book, and as I explained to our audience tonight, it's the real life story drama of my experience as being a contactee from an early age. But the whole purpose of the book is titled The Reality Engineer, and that's what the ETs called me. My ET friend Elon specifically termed me to be the reality engineer because what they're doing is, and I'm not unique. There are thousands and thousands of us reality engineering students that are presently on the planet doing what we do. Still maintain, guys, that there's going to be a major series of landings. I'm still calling for it in the next year or two. I've been off on my schedule, but then again, I'm trying to predict something that is going to set the world upside down. Can you imagine? I'm calling for them to land in Mexico, openly land in Mexico first. That's where I think the action's going to begin. Or it could be Russia. It'll be either Mexico or Russia that breaks the story. And of course, if the Russians do it, oh man, are we going to have egg on our face? Oh, you think all this nonsense with Trump is important? Not that it's not, but I mean, it's going to take a sideline if it's the Russians who make first open contact. Now, Robert, you and I both know, and so does Mike, there's been contacts going on for decades and decades and decades, okay?
Well, you and I, and thousands, like you said, thousands including all of us, we've got contacts, period.
Absolutely. But it's one thing for it to go public. It's another thing for those of us. I wouldn't say that people like you and I are in the shadows. I just think that what we're doing is what we're supposed to do, and that is just get the job done. Write about it, talk about it, get the news out so that when it happens, we're not having everybody scampering around like lemmings ready to leap off the first cliff they come to,
Right. Well, I've been writing, and I was writing. I stopped for but I write in screenplay format because I'm just not a novelist in any way, shape, or form. You know,
Okay.
but I've been working on I did write one screenplay which I thought was hysterical and was shot down instantly. I wonder why. Called it Alien Vacation, right? Where a family of aliens come to Earth to have a little vacation, a little entertainment, a little peace and quiet. What do they get instead? They get grief, they get hassle, they get of course they get they get the military on them. It was really funny, I thought. Everybody who read it thought it was funny, but when I submitted it, it was just like, oh, go away. We don't want to hear that. Oh, no. No. The aliens have to be big, bad, and scary. They have to kill everybody, and we have to unleash a volley of military arsenal to destroy them. No, we can't have an alien vacation, right?
Well,
So I started...
well, I was going to say Hollywood never had a Patrick.
Oh, that's right. Well, look what happened with the day the Earth stood still. Did you know that that was not supposed to have turned out the way it did?
I had no idea. So the Earth
I
was
didn't know
supposed
that
to...
either.
Oh, yeah. The original script, from what I understand, and I've talked to a few people about this, I used to, I spent almost 13 years living in Hollywood, in Los Angeles, in Studio City. Originally, the story was supposed to be extremely positive, and that they weren't, he had come to, well, part of it stayed true, that he came to enlighten everyone. Everybody back then was worried about the atomic bomb, if you remember right. That was the main theme. That was, remember the bomb went off in the desert and it made all the giant ants, and it came from out and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember all those movies from back then.
Oh, yeah. As a kid, it scared the hell out of me.
The ants went into the sugar refinery, and boy, did they get big.
Well, can you imagine, guys? Let's see. My experience happened in September of 1950. There was can you guys remember the very first of the alien scary movies that came out? It was early.
Yeah, 1978.
No, I'm talking about 50.
Okay, I thought you were meant about the movie Aliens. I'm sorry.
No. An alien movie. I probably didn't get that out right. There was. I'm trying to remember the very first of the alien movies that came out in 1950. I've got that book somewhere. It's in my library, and most of my library's packed up. Anyway, when the whole thing started to unfold that evening, when I got caught out in the boat in the storm and the lake, and my boat was slowly sinking, and I thought, and then this object, which I found out later was called a Kabak. Cover all this in the book, by the way, is a complete second by second, minute by minute dissertation on the experience of them rescuing me from drowning on the lake, bringing my little boat to a place of safety where the ship landed, and then the 4.5 hours that I spent on board the ship. Anyway, my worst fear, guys, was that after Elan contacted me, what they call telemetrically, which is mind-to-mind communication, my worst fear, of course, was going to be, are they going to be human, or are they going to be, some monster gaggle? Of course, I had read all of the Edgar Rice Burroughs books, and the ones that dealt with going to the moon and to Mars and all that. And of course, some of those characters in there, they were exactly what Hollywood was looking for. So anyway, obviously I was quite relieved, guys, when the Fourth Racers is how they identified themselves. They were very, very much humanoid, and I go into all that into the book, in the book I'm writing. And I can't tell you how relieved I was when I finally got to see Elan, quote, in the flesh, when he teleported out of the Archimique out into the little grassy area where I was hiding in a little cave that they had created for me. It's very involved. It would probably take 2 shows to get it all out. But when the book comes out, it gives, and when you were speaking about writing your stuff in the form of a screenplay, I'd actually, guys, written this as a screenplay 10 years ago. Remember I told you I had made many attempts?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember when we talked about this last time, as a matter of fact, yes.
Yeah. I've got the screenplay guiding me here, but I found out after rereading, guys, I wrote that screenplay 10 years ago, registered it with Writers Guild of America West, and did all the things you're supposed to do as a screenwriter, right? The one thing I've never did, bad English, the one thing I've never done is, I had this wonderful friendship with Gene Roddenberry. He taught me so much about what to avoid and the pitfalls and the horrors and the nastiness of the people who run the Hollywood movie world.
All right, can I just stop you right there and just say how envious and jealous I am that you got to meet and work with Gene Roddenberry? I'm not really, but Michael, Jason, that is awesome.
I want to clarify, I never worked with him. We had an off the business friendship and relationship. Let me tell you how that came about. I think I've spoke about it before. As you guys know, I used to be in the record business.
Oh yeah.
And I had quite a bit of success as early as 1973, going into 74, with a spate of lucky productions that broke into the disco field. And as such, I had a little bit of money at my disposal. And I mentioned my pilot friend, Jim Richardson. Well, he knew a guy named Eugene Condon, an ex-Army captain, who was very much into UFOs and ETs and mysticism, and he himself was kind of a clairvoyant and whatever. And they formed a syndicate of 5 guys, and they purchased the submarine that was used in a movie voyage around the world under the sea. This goes way, way, way back, guys. This goes back to the 50s. And this submarine was in dry dock. It hadn't been used, obviously, since the movie wrapped. And they picked it up for a song because the guy that owned it was old and not well, and he wanted to get some. I think they got the entire submarine for like $100,000. Now, it was not the kind of submarine that you see in movies. It was real. It worked. But it was basically developed and made strictly for this particular movie that it starred in. Okay? Anyway, it sat in a dry dock in a shipyard in Miami, off the Miami River. So they put an ad in the paper one day, and I think they put it in the Los Angeles Times, saying that they had a submarine that would be excellent if someone wanted to use it in a movie. Well, Gene Roddenberry saw the ad, and at that time, he was thinking of coming up with a new series exploring all the mysteries in the Bermuda Triangle. And of course, Miami, sits at one of the apexes of the Bermuda Triangle. So he contacted this Gene Condon, and I was lucky enough to be the person who was chosen because I had a partial interest, small interest, like up at the airport and be his exclusive guide and companion during the 6 days that he spent in Miami. And he spent the time at Gene Condon's home, which was in that really nice area of Miami and Coral Gables. Coral Gables. Gene had a home in Coral Gables. So I spent the entire 6 days with him almost constantly because I attended, of course, all the meetings and all the discussions and things of that nature. So during that time, he and I would take breakfast together. He loved his breakfasts, okay? Sometimes he'd skip lunch, but he loved his dinners, and he loved wine. At least he did when he was in Miami with us. And so we got to talking only to find out that he, too, was a UFO ET contactee as a child.
See, I knew that. I knew that.
I'm sure you did. And he experienced the same kind of OBEs that I did as a very small child. And he distinctly remembers all of the things that eventually I put into this book that I'm writing. And so we became really, really close. And after that 6 days ended and he went back, he got real busy because they were beginning the new series, The Next Generation. Well, it was on the drawing boards. So I had a chance to spend personal time with him when I lived in LA. We'd ride around, and he had a vintage red Corvette convertible. And everybody knew it was his car, okay? And we used to meet. There used to be a Greek restaurant at La Brea, not La Brea, at La Brea and it's a street that runs at an angle, crossing over all the other streets. I'll think of it in a minute. But anyway, that restaurant is now a Mexican restaurant. But anyway, we used to meet there and have Greek salads. I'll never forget, he loved Greek salads, okay? So I came to realize that there are thousands of key people like him who have also gone through this, what I call the reality engineering phase of their childhood. And I think you, buddy, I think you've gone through that too. Now, Michael...
Yeah, I have. And so I think Michael has gone through it as well.
Well, I think, Mike, you're yet to get the full brunt of it, okay?
I had the out-of-body experiences, but, I've had 3 of them, actually. But 2 I was a kid, 1 I was an adult, and they were different from each other, so I don't know. I'm still trying to...
But Michael, you've also seen the crafts. And
I have.
This is only my opinion, though, Michael, because I don't know if you've undergone any regressions, but I will simply say this: that usually when people see the craft, it usually follows that they have had and I hate that word abduction because it's not an abduction. I like to use the word contact.
Man,
I believe you had a contact.
Let me find out I was on a ship, but I didn't leave with a pamphlet or something. I would not be happy.
Well, Michael, they certainly didn't leave me with a pamphlet. They left me with the knowledge of you spent 16 and a half weeks with us. Oh, but I'm sorry, we can't tell you, but we'll let you know when it's time for you, or we'll let you remember when it's time for you to remember. And I was left scratching my head, upset, disgusted, because I was like, well, why can't you tell me? And the answer is always this. Because if we've let you remember everything you experienced, you really think you want to finish out your life progression on this planet. That's what they tell you. You've got to finish this experience so you can move to the next.
And the one reason they don't give you souvenirs, everybody always says to me, well, where's the ashtray? Where's this? Well, I do have several artifacts. And believe me, I don't share them with the public. I can't.
Well, then you know what people are going to say.
I promised never to separate myself from them.
That almost
or to share them or to disparage them.
See, now we had somebody on recently who says, well, I could do all these wonderful things, but I'm not going to prove it to you. And it's like, okay, well, then, we can't actually vouch for it. So some people might look at that and say, well, why wouldn't you alert the rest of the world that here's the proof?
Part of that is because it involves chasing one's own ego. Okay? In my case, I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care what anybody says. I've already been through it. I know what's real. I know how it can be. And the one thing that I came away with was the fact that if you work too hard at trying to prove something, you become even a bigger target because they want whatever evidence you have so that they can exploit it and you as a person and make them feel like they're doing their job. Okay?
I see. I understand. I got you. But, who are they to come and, because let's say if I was taken, I'm not saying I was, but if I was, and I have no memory of it, I don't know. That's like that's like a Bill Cosby move.
Come on. Michael, that's me.
Here's the thing. Michael, I want to say this to you. When I had these experiences, I haven't heard anybody say that they were missing they were gone off planet 16 and a half weeks within 1 hour's time frame, which means that my ET contacts, alien contacts, being contacts, have such incredible ability to control time that they were able to do that. I've never heard anybody else say the same thing. I've heard hours, and I have heard weeks. Of course, we all heard of the most prolific in the field with now it's slipping my mind. They did the movie about him, Fire in the Sky. I'm not recalling his name.
Oh, darn it. Travis Walton.
Walton.
You almost made me forget I knew it. Darn it. Yeah. Fell out of there.
Did you guys ever meet him? I've met him a couple of times.
I met Travis one time. I was trying to get an interview with him when I was still doing radio with Jason. But he's a very humble and just laid back kind of easygoing guy. The thing is, he really doesn't want to talk about most of this stuff, but he feels as it's his duty to do so, and God bless him, because I'm so glad that he came out and put his story forward, because it just helps part of the process of the awakening for humanity. Jason, you mentioned something earlier about the landings and when it's going to be. You didn't give a date, but here's my take on it. We still have, at least in my opinion, and I hold this I hold the fire myself on this, is that there is going to be a major, massive shift, which we're seeing physically taking place on the planet. I'm talking about the earth changes that are taking place now. From my friends upstairs, they always said this, Jason, and then you can respond any way you wish. They said, yes, once the events have taken place, we will come down and assist all who need our help. And then you say, which I thought was very interesting, says there's going to be a mass landing. I think they're one and the same, Jason. What's your take on my thought there?
We're in total agreement on that. The basis of my theory for this is that right at the moment, there's no real need for them to rescue anybody. Okay?
Right.
And when they do decide to make themselves known, and now keep in mind, the Travis Walton experience was the negative side. You see, everybody thinks that they're either all bad or that they're all good. No. It's the yin and the yang of the universe.
That's right. Why do people always think? I mean, they got to be different than everything else. You look at anything on this planet. You got dogs that'll bite you, dogs that'll lick you, people who will shake your hand, people who will cut your hand off. I mean, so why wouldn't that be the same case, with others?
Now, and Michael, that's what I've always said, as above, so below. Just because their technology is higher doesn't mean that they act any differently or behave any differently. Yes, they may be a little bit more spiritually advanced than us because they look at us basically as cavemen trying to crawl out from underneath a rock. But the idea of the universe works universally.
Well, keep in mind that the original UFO ET movement began shortly there was always sightings taking place all the way back to the 1800s. I mean, if you really want to do your research, and by the way, here I go digressing again, forgive me guys, a book called The Extraterrestrial Hypothesis, Genesis Revisited. I wrote that book 20 years ago and still haven't got it published. Told the Neelys about it, and I think it will now be time to brush off those cobwebs. I actually for 5 copies just for me to have it, so I do have that. I go into all this past history about how this whole UFO thing began all the way back to the 1800s. It'll be an interesting book. I wanted to teach from it in college. I felt it would be a great teaching tool.
Oh, what a professor you would have been.
Well, I'm still toying with the idea. I'm so fortunate having received that degree from the Russian Academy of Sciences. It gives me legitimacy. But I'm digressing, and I didn't mean to. That's not where I wanted to go with this. Well, I wanted to go back to this good guy, bad guy thing out there. Okay? The entire reality that spawned the modern day UFO ET discussions and contactee scenario began with Kenneth Arnold when he had his famous, that's how the term flying saucer came about. He was flying his private plane in the mountains in Washington State, and he saw this fleet of a dozen silver-looking flying saucers skipping through the air the way he described it. From there, people started coming out of the woodwork like, well, yeah, I've seen this and I've seen that. And people like George Van Tassel and Fry and all of these authors, Adamski, and all of these very now deceased but very famous early UFO contactee authors put out almost 100 different books. And by the way, I have almost every single original book ever written, either by an American or a foreigner, in the UFO field. I got about a 4,000 book library. Some of them are original, some of them are signed. So that's another story. And when I began to grow out of being a child after age 8 and my OBE stopped, I felt very alone, and I felt that I had been dumped by my friend Elon after going to those years and years of the classroom where they were actually teaching me reality engineering 101. Of course, I didn't realize all of it until the event happened at age 11 on the ship. And I decided then that it was probably better not to say anything to anybody about that experience that day, because who would have believed me? Certainly not my mom and dad. Well, my mom maybe, but not my dad. My dad was a nuts and bolts guy, you know. He loved the Tarzan series, and he read us all those books, but he had no time for discussions of flying saucers and UFOs and all that stuff.
Well, listen, we got a break coming up here in just a minute, and then when we come back from the break, we'll go to the phones and take any calls. But go ahead, you still got a minute before we need to take it.
Well, I feel like I'm hogging the show tonight, guys, and I didn't want to do that. That's not what
that's a ridiculous thing. Come on.
All right, silly.
It's Right, just whatever. Yeah.
After that event happened on the ship, and they left just before midnight. They had to land the ship. Of course, all this is in the book I'm writing. They repaired the ship, and it was ready to go. And I spent the balance of that night until the next morning in this little cave that they had hollowed out for me in this rock wall for my safety. When I got back the next morning, I wandered back into the camp, the fishing camp, just around 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, and they had already sent the seaplane out looking for me. And actually, the seaplane discovered me about 3.5 miles from the campsite. This fishing lodge was on a lake, Lake Sassaginagak, in the Atataki provincial province, about 240 miles northeast of Winnipeg, up in Manitoba province. Anyway, the seaplane actually saw me coming in my little rowboat. I had taken off without permission in a 10-foot rowboat with an old you ever see these old Johnson motors? They were kind of square, and you had to put a rope on them and pull them to get them started.
I have seen them. I've seen them in movies.
way back. So I made it back to camp, and I didn't say one word to anybody about what happened. All I told them was I got caught in a storm, and I made my way across the lake. Didn't tell them that I almost drowned and that they saved me, and I didn't say anything. And in my tackle box, I had the huge black quartz crystal that they had given me as part of my legacy. And I had a picture that they crafted for me of the Ark Unique, which is going to be in the book, of it sitting out in the meadow that they created in the middle of nowhere. They created this whole landscape so they could land. It's called architectural engineering, and it's in the field under the pyramidal K-box safety unit. I hear the music coming.
Yes.
And so I never said anything for 20 years. I kept it to myself. But I resumed my mental telemetric contacts with Elan within a year of me getting back home safely and everything. Okay, we got the break coming up, right?
That's right. All right, so hang on there with me, guys. Dr. Jason Rand is my guest. Also, Robert Pepino. They have joined me. Don't know what happened to our scheduled guest. A few ideas, but not quite sure. So we'll see. Who knows? Maybe we'll be able to reschedule them. We'll see how that goes. But anyways, folks, this is Late Night in the Midlands. I'm Michael Vera. We'll be back. We'll take your calls when we return. Don't go away, folks.
He's an award-winning author and researcher and has spent multiple years proving his works. His books have reached a wide audience across the country and around the world and have won numerous awards. He has appeared on dozens of television and nationally syndicated radio shows over the course of 2 decades. His book, Future Esoteric, goes behind the official story, revealing there is also an alternative narrative. The newly revised second edition includes more images, captions, and information than ever before. Future Esoteric examines the metaphysical nature of reality and the storyline of what is not being told to the mass majority of people. You can find his books at cccpublishing.com or click on one of his many banners on the L&M Radio Network site at lnmradionetwork.com.
The L&M Radio Network offers a moderated chat room at www.latenightinthemidlands.com. Just click the chat and listen page from the drop-down menu at the top of any page on the website, or click the Listen Live button at the top of the homepage at www.latenightinthemidlands.com. Folks, I would like to recommend a great YouTube channel for those of you who can't get enough of Late Night in the Midlands or the truth in general. Try Non-Human Entities. Non-Human Entities supports L&M, and L&M would like you all to support them by going to visit Non-Human Entities on YouTube. That's Non-Human Entities on YouTube. Or just click the banner on the L&M Radio Network website that says Non-Human Entities.
When you need a reliable source for your toner, where do you turn? Laser Technologies International Incorporated, your source for quality laser printer, copier, and fax toner. We supply a frustration-free cartridge guaranteed not to harm your printer, delivering 100% of the quality at a fraction of the price. We have products for most major brands. Find us on the web at www.laser-technologies.com. Email us at service@laser-technologies.com. Call us at 561-792-9600. That's 561-792-9600. Laser Technologies, 561-792-9600. Providing excellent customer service since 1995.
Late Night in the Midlands covers everything.
When it comes to the matter of baby Jesus, Joseph, you are not.
Late Night in the Midlands has had over 3,060 guests.
You know, a privilege to be on your program.
When Moses was taking the Jews out of Israel, or out of Egypt.
With over 2,040 shows live since 2008, and only a couple hundred return guests.
Hello, Dr. Rand here.
L&M has been around. We started as one person and one show, growing into a network of shows surrounding Late Night in the Midlands. Late Night in the Midlands has aired on other networks, and I have been given offers most hosts would have jumped on. Offers that would have enriched my lifestyle. The bottom line is, I love who I am, and I love what Late Night in the Midlands means to me, and to all of you who have stuck by us through the years. Late Night in the Midlands, we cover everything and expose the truth, one show at a time. www.latenightinthe-midlands.com.
On the east coast of the United States, from the capital city, Columbia, South Carolina, you're listening to Late Night in the Midlands with your host, Michael Vera. To talk to Michael Vera, dial 803-339-2559, or around the world on Skype. Just use Skype ID LNM Radio.
All right, we're back, all of us. We are back. This is Late Night in the Midlands, and I'm Michael Vera. I have with me tonight Dr. Jason Q. Rand and Robert Pepino, and we're just talking, I guess we're talking about contactees tonight. So that's the topic. It was going to be about the old lizard men, right? The reptilians. But, I don't know, our guest was abducted. So with that, folks, I want to give a shout out to our radio affiliates, High Point Radio, the top of New Jersey, bringing us into New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, doing it on 100.5 FM, 1620 AM, WAFR, 87.5 FM, Wareham, Massachusetts, WCET, 101.7 FM, Columbia, South Carolina on Columbia Talk, K98 Talk, the L&M Radio Network, that's our mothership, And, well, we simulcast on YouTube, on Facebook Live, on Twitch, on Daily Motion, on iTunes and TuneIn. And, oh, man, just follow the L&M road. That's all I can say, because we're all over the place. And we're going to get back to things here tonight. You know, somebody was talking about revulsions with, with guests. Maybe they, find out certain things and decide they don't want to come on the last, I don't know. But, so, and I actually went through that through the Donald Trump election thing where there was guests who just hated Donald Trump. So, and I've not heard from them anymore. So, there's enough fish in the sea. I mean, I don't worry about that kind of thing. That's why I just say it like it is. I do it as I please. And for those who don't like it, they won't come. That's all. They won't be here. I mean, I'm no ill will. Hey, that's up to you. But as far as tonight's guest goes, I don't know what happened. I'll try to make contact with them and reschedule them. But in the past, I'm talking, you get messages from people and they say, hey, this, that, and the other thing. But it is what it is. That's what Autumn hates when I say that. It is what it is. But it is. What are you going to do? All right, guys, we're back. First, let me give people a little bit of knowledge on how to get a hold of us. 803-339-2559 or 803-392-4566 or on Skype. You can Skype us, L&M Radio. And we do have a call, and I have no idea where this call is coming from, but it's 808 area code. You are on Late Night in the Midlands. First name and where are you calling from? Hello, hello.
Hello?
Yes, you're on Late Night in the Midlands.
I don't think they're there, Michael.
Well, somebody's moving around there. Do you want it? You got a question for the guest?
Sound like underwater. Maybe it's a reptilian calling in.
Okay. Well, it absolutely could be. Well, it's showing me on the screen a little island. Unfortunately, I'm not close enough to that screen over there to read it, but it's nothing I've said. I don't know. I have no idea. So I don't know. They're not answering, so I'm going to have to hang up and let's move on. Anyone wants to call in, you may do so. I'll put the number up on screen, as a matter of fact. Folks, I can only say hello so many times, and I got to drop you. I mean, I can't sit here and toy around. It's just people listening. They don't want to hear the Verizon commercial. Can you hear me now? So anyways, so guys, where did we leave off? Dr. Rand.
Well, we were
yeah.
generally talking about the fact that contactees don't always go around yelling and screaming about their experiences, because that's not what we're supposed to do. At least not in my case. Robert, how do you feel about that?
I have to agree with you to a certain extent, but I would also say that there's a certain, there's a certain stigma with that, even till to this day, that they feel that if they were going to say something to a friend or a family member, that they would, they wouldn't know how to accept it, so they would feel, what's the word I'm looking for? Stigmatized by saying something like that, basically put in a corner. And most people, unfortunately, don't know how to deal with that. I mean, you have to be an open personality, especially like ourselves, all of us, who aren't afraid, who don't care what anybody else thinks, because I certainly don't care or give a damn what anybody else thinks. I'm going to tell you exactly what I experienced, and I'll always tell you the same thing.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly, Michael. And the problem is that they have been so brainwashed by the mainstream media. I'm not saying social media, to a certain extent, just a little bit, but by the mainstream media, by governments, that if you've seen something or you believe in aliens, you're going to be admonished by everyone, and that's just the propaganda mainstream media system trying to keep and maintain control over the reality of what's really going on. Because believe me, all those crooked SOBs know exactly what's going on. Everyone involved in the high echelon media know this is all true, it's very real, but they don't want to lose their position, and they certainly don't want to lose their monetary position. So they're going to push this as the dark shadow government tells them, this is what you're going to say, this is what you're going to do, or your head is going to end up around a noose.
All right, let's try to take that call once more. They're back. So 808 area code. You are on Late Night in the Midlands. First name and where you're calling from, please. Okay, well, I'm not hearing a word you're saying, so I'm going to go once.
It sounds like it might be a telephone problem. I think they're honestly trying to get through. If they're on a cell phone, this could account for part of the problem.
Well, and I can see where they're trying to say something, but we're not getting it on our end. Are you? You hear them? I don't hear them.
Michael, tell them to type their question in the chat room or on YouTube chat.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the best way, because 808, whatever you're using to call in's not working. But hey, if you've got Skype, you can Skype us, L&M Radio. I don't know where they're calling from. It's showing me a little island, but I can't read the names on it. All right, well, thank you for your call. I hope you get in touch with us one way or another. All right, here's one from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 954 area code. You're on Late Night in the Midlands. First name and where you're calling from.
Actually, it's Richard, but I'm actually calling from Barbados. That's my Magic Jack number.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome aboard.
Yes, I have a question for your guests. It might sound odd, but living in Barbados and with all the knowledge that I've gathered during the last year about what's forthcoming, our island doesn't have a chance when it comes to the floodwaters or the tsunamis or whatever is going to be eliminating coastlines and so on and so forth. And here I am feebly thinking about a survival technique of just having a survival kit, a raft, flare gun, or something that if I could just be above water, maybe there's some chance I could survive, because I don't have the money means to move and go to another country or whatever. Do you have any suggestions of whether there even might be a possibility that there could be a way I could be saved by these aliens that you're talking about will be landing here, there, and everywhere? And my second part of my question is, I see the number 1111 a lot for the last 20 years, whether it be on the clock or whatever. A message is trying to be driven to me, and I'm wondering if this all may be interconnected.
Well, may I, Jason, if you don't mind?
Yeah, please. And then I'd like to follow you, because I've got some great thoughts for this guest. What's your first name, sir?
My name is Richard.
Richard, okay. Richard.
Richard, when people start to get that synchronicity, they're seeing numbers, this is a sign that you've already been contacted. From what I understand and all the research I've done, it's a synchronicity of numbers, which means that somehow, some way you've been contacted, whether you're aware of it or unaware. Obviously, you're unaware that you've had a contact with our friends upstairs. So that is a synchronistic point that you need to be looking at. Secondly, yes, the coastline's going to be affected, but it's not in the way that you're thinking about it. Small islands, okay, take New Zealand for instance, because it's protected by a big landmass, which is Australia, right?
Right.
It's the large land masses that are going to take the brunt of this water event within 50 to 100 miles of this impact or shift that we're going to go through. So it's the larger land masses that really have the largest worry of it all, because the larger the land mass, the more water surrounds it. The smaller islands, peninsulas are usually very well protected against these things. The greater part or thing that I concern myself with is the shifting of the plates. Okay, and that means really large earthquakes taking place, and unfortunately, it's going to affect every continent, especially islands and peninsulas. But it doesn't necessarily mean, and this is my opinion, that that your island is going to sink into the water. It could be that your island turns into a much larger landmass as these events move forward. That's my opinion on it, Richard.
Because Barbados is located, that it's the farthest, most eastern island of the entire Caribbean, and the waters hit there first before any of the other island chains. Very small island. It's a very, very small island. It just seems to miss hurricanes like crazy. We haven't had one hit since 1955, and that's the remarkable part. That's what they call it, God's Island here. I mean, they think that we're blessed here because we're never hit by any calamities as far as weather is concerned. It's just that I'm not sure how this thing is going to come about, whether it'll be a hit that's hard or the water will slowly rise. I don't know what to expect, to be honest with you. So
you know what? That's the whole thing for all of us, Richard. For all of us, we don't really know. We just know what we've been told or what we have seen or been given visions of. I just know what I've been told. Okay, and for me, when I was on the ship, they said, "Look, they showed me 3 different screens. This is how was it explained to me. They showed me 3 different screens. They said, this is Earth. It's in the center where we are now. This is what it can be, and this is what it may be. It really depends on us." So what they were telling me is our conscious awareness and our awakening to a higher realm of reality can actually shift this whole thing. Whether that's happened, I have no idea. But all I know is that when I look at the weather, I look at all the strange, crazy earth changes that are taking place, it tells me that it hasn't shifted, which also, and I use a common sense approach to all this stuff, Richard. I look at it and say, okay, this is what I've been told, but this is what I'm seeing. Okay, the patterns in the earth have changed drastically. The Earth's wobble has shifted by 1,000 miles. This is a fact.
Correct.
This is not
Correct.
science fiction. This is a fact.
Yes.
It's already happened. So
Yes.
the bottom line is there going to be the next greater, larger shift in this, which it may be another 15, 20 degrees? Imagine another 15, 20 degrees, what it would do to the weather patterns, which have shifted so dramatically right now. Imagine that right now, not imagine, it's factually, that we have 40 volcanoes going off simultaneously now every single day. Whether it may be the same once, it is happening on a continuous basis. We also have the fact that the earthquakes have increased in intensity and seismicity.
See, and all of that is very true. I mean, they said something like, I think before the weekend, it was up to 500 earthquakes over Yellowstone. So
you're absolutely right, Michael. You're absolutely
they're
right.
they're actively deleting that information off the USGS regularly. They don't want people to know what's forming around Yellowstone.
Yeah, let me show you.
Them.
Let me show you guys. So if you're looking at the screen, this is what I got. I don't know if you've seen this the other night, Rob. Oh hell, never mind. I don't have them loaded up. I thought they
would pop. They would pop up, and then they would eliminate it minutes later.
Yeah,
I want people to see.
I had one that come up for 2025. There's supposed to be a 6.8.
Right. Michael, I did see that, by the way. I did see that. I laughed my ass off.
Yeah,
I laughed.
So it says, but after looking at it, they decided that to take it down. You had to get. It took you that long? I mean, 2024. Anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Robert,
okay.
Can I ask you? Are you Canadian?
I'm Canadian. I'm a dental surgeon here. I'm a Canadian. My folks originally came from Manitoba and near and Winnipeg. Actually, near Lake Winnipegosis is where my roots were.
Well, so I picked up your Canadian. I call it a jargon. Respectfully, I love Canadian talk. Okay, and you're out and about and all that. I picked that up right away. I would say this to you. You're there for a reason. I don't know what you there, and I'm not sure what's keeping you there, but if you feel unsafe, I would get back to the Canadian mainland because Canada is going to be very safe.
Especially around the prairie areas, I would imagine. Yes. That's why I have friends there.
And that area around Lake Winnipeg, that whole area, it's very, very stable.
I spent much time in Alberta, actually, before I moved to Barbados 22 years ago.
Okay.
So I've been here 22 years. But
are you living close to water? Are you right on the water, or are you inland a little bit?
I'm inland a little bit. My exact elevation, according to my iPhone, is about 300 feet above sea level. Up on the top of my hill.
Well,
I might have a few minutes notice.
Well, I would say this. I used to be of the thinking that there's going to be a series of global tsunamis, okay? I'm not at all sure that reality is ever going to come to pass the way we see it in movies like 2012, okay?
Correct.
Now, do not assume that I'm not aware that at any time Mother Earth can suddenly start shaking, because she's already shaking.
Correct.
My thinking is that if we can get past 2017, 2018 without any major geographic distortions or sudden anomalies happening, like a major spate of earthquakes, we're going to be okay. All right.
All right.
I'm thinking that I've got a book out right now called The Return of Planet X. Can you scribble that down?
I already have it down. I know a lot about you.
Oh, okay.
I've done my research.
If you have a chance, a lot of my book's in a lot of libraries. If you get a chance to read it, it'll give you a really good, unvarnished, realistic viewpoint of how this phenomenon works about every 3,600 years. We got lucky this time. We got really, really, really lucky.
Now,
if I go ahead.
I was gonna say, here's my quick thoughts on all this. If anyone out there, if you're concerned about Planet X, if you really believe that's coming or going or whatever it's doing, and it's gonna cause problems, you should be really thinking about, in the end game, I mean, really, survival of what? Because so power goes out, that right there is going to be a deadly ticket for everybody, because you know where I'm going, these nuclear radiation facilities.
EMP.
Yeah, what happens when those things all start melting? There's no way they're keeping them all cool. The power grid goes down, you're going to start having some of those Fukushimas going off. And when that happens, what are you surviving? So, personally, me, if that's going to happen, I hope I'm right next to the first thing that blows up, to be honest with you.
Well, fortunately for me, I'm very far away from any of those. We don't have anything like that, right?
Well, darn. You might survive.
We just got an electrical grid, that's it.
Yeah, well, you may just survive.
I just want one of those good aliens to maybe give me a little helping hand along the way, but that might be asking for way too much.
Oh, I see.
One person on the water.
Yeah. See, now I wouldn't mind that either. If they want to give me a lift, yeah.
Don't feel that way, buddy. Don't feel that way.
Well, I
If you feel in your heart and in your soul that you want to make a connection, or that you're interested in a higher dialogue or a mental communication, you see, these entities, like my particular group, are called Fourth Racers, and they're from the planet Epsilon, in the Arcturus star system. What are they good? Well, it's all in the book, okay? If you want to jot something down, it's called the Mobius, M-O-B-I-O-U-S, Mobius strip application, or the Mobius strip plane. Look that up on Google.
M-O-B-I-E-S?
Mobius.
M-O-B-I-E-S? Yeah, okay.
M-O-B-I-U-S. Mobius. Strip. It'll Google up for you. What it is, it's a discussion about transversing and crisscrossing and cutting in half time and space and traveling through time and cutting space into sections. The only way I can describe it, I can't wait for this book to come out because I go into a whole discussion on it. They don't travel through space. They travel through time and they exit in and out of space. Like we take, how many days does it take to get to the moon, guys? What is it, 3 days?
Supposedly
That's
3.5.
what they tell us, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There is a way to cut through this whole equation of time and space. And part of it has to do with Einstein's theory of relativity, which I am not prepared to get into, believe me. I'm still trying to digest even the rudiments of it. Okay? But when these extraterrestrial intelligences come through what we call deep space and visit life-bearing planets like Earth, they're doing so with 175,000 years in advance of our evolution technology. We all that stuff you saw in Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek and all that stuff, warp drive and all that, where do you think he got that from? Yeah, where do you think he got all those stories from? He got them from his contacts, not only when he was a child, but as he maintained his adulthood. That whole show just didn't happen by accident. And he told me how painful it was, what he had to go through to get the first show produced and on the air.
See, and I believe that. I do. I believe that. But, you know,
NBC treated him terribly. Just terribly.
Well, what do you expect from the fake news channels? That's what they do.
But I've been trying very hard.
What's amazing to me, Jason, is that the show ran, 5 seasons? They canceled it, but yet there was this whole genre, there was this whole, mass awareness of when that happened to produce Star Trek when they came out with the movies. And then, Star Trek Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Voyager. I mean, so there is such a yearning for the idea that this is all very real that they couldn't put it to bed, just like the mainstream media can't stop hiding the fact that John Podesta and his brother Tony is a pedophile. They're trying to make it go away, but the reality is there's such a clamoring for truth that it's all coming out.
Allegedly.
Yeah, right, allegedly. Okay, Michael.
Yeah, okay, you will keep me out of courtrooms that way.
I'll keep you out of courtrooms. But you know what?
That's a politically correct.
No one's ever disproved any WikiLeaks emails. No one's ever taken them to court over because it's all real.
They're 100%. They're 100% to this day.
I don't doubt it, but I can't prove it either. So.
Well, but here's what I'm thinking. It's Richard, right?
Yes, please.
All right, Richard. You asked a question what you can do. First of all, get some staples together. You could suddenly have a bad spate of weather turn on you, or one of these storms. We've just started the 2017 hurricane season, and it's already off to a rip and a tear. Okay.
I thought it was going to be one of the worst seasons with all this happening and the jet stream's all messed up and everything. This could be one of the worst ever, for real. Yes.
Well, here's the thing. I think that there's going to be an amount of weather engineering on behalf of our friends. I've seen it happen in other areas and under other conditions whereby they've mitigated some of these particular storms. And I've never been a great conspiracy theory kind of person regarding HARP and all this other stuff that supposedly the United States and the other countries are doing. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, and I'm not saying that there isn't a potential for it. But right now, we've got our hands full just trying to figure out how to not get blown up by a terrorist, much less trying to engineer the damn weather. Okay?
Yeah. Well, Jason, I have to say this. You know, the fact of the matter, these are factual things you can look at. Go look at the chemtrailing worldwide. Okay? Now, you have to ask yourself a question. Why are they spraying all these heavy chemicals into the air? It's either, okay, it's twofold, right? It's either to block out the radiation from whatever is causing a heavy amount of radiation that is hitting our planet, which is whacking out the weather, okay? And two, and you can just put this on top of it, they're saying, okay, well, you know what, let's block out the radiation as much as we can, and then we'll just, illuminize the populace of the planet, so we can just all dumb them down even more, have them get Alzheimer's much earlier, have them all dying at 50 and 60 instead of the real lifespans, which originally, when if you go back to the days of Noah, we're living 800, 900 years.
Okay.
There's no question that the magnetosphere is weakened a lot, and the solar winds have increased with intensity with the holes in the sun, and they may be trying to prevent some of that serious radiation impacting the Earth and the core. But you're right, the sinister side of it is to affect our minds and our health.
Yeah,
in a very serious way.
Well, whatever reason they're doing it for, it's not good because they're not telling us, and they are doing it. And you are seeing an uptick in everything, cancers, you name it, diseases, diabetes in children, for crying out loud. And that's got a lot to do with the food, too. I get that. But, until I know exactly what they're doing in our skies, I have to question that. And so, and whatever it is they're doing is not good. It's just not. And you're right. The sun is always blocked out. I don't know if it just works out that way, but every time you look up and they're chemtrailing, it's the sun that gets blotched out more than anything else. And I will admit
Michael has said that over and over.
I know. I had an assistant who used to help me on this show who he used to argue with me and say the chemtrails are to block out so you don't see Planet X. And I still don't believe that, but it's, but then again, if it's hanging around the sun, then okay, maybe that's possible because they are really heavy around the sun. So
and the other thing is that the dark side of the Earth are getting impregnated by light and solar waves from an unknown source, and
that's right.
Very unusual.
That's right, Richard.
You don't see it's becoming more and more intense, and one could only survive that it's coming from Nemesis or one of those brown dwarf stars that are being hidden behind the sun.
Well, and there has been a lot of talk about a binary lately, too. You're seeing it come up in these science websites, NASA talking about the possibility of a binary star, and they're getting closer to believing that it's true.
Yeah, but that's the BS of the one that they're talking about 100 EUs away, just to distract us from the one that's really close.
You're probably right.
That's absolutely right. And, you guys can go to Planet X News. And this guy's wonderful. He's just put up some
fantastic
photographs of the photographs he put up of the brown dwarf, which is blue, by the way. It's bluish with these stripes running to it. And I just always go back to the Indians. I'll go back to the Hopis. They talked about the red blue Kachina, red Kachina, and what he's photographed is that.
And Chris is smart enough to have his physicist.
That's right.
He calls the role physicist, and she's one of the bravest women around because she could end up like all the other list of dead bodies who tried to speak out on what's really going on. And she's taking.
You know what? I don't think that's going to happen though, Richard. Simply because she's a fairly unknown physicist. Her credentials, yes, she has wonderful credentials, but her credentials don't come from the United States, so it doesn't put it in an esteemed position of recognition. So that's why nothing's happened to her. Thank God nothing's happened to her.
Not yet.
People pay attention.
But Chris is having her come to the States. That was the game plan. She's planning on getting her to come to the States.
Whoa.
She was fired as a professor of 17 years in that Southern African university due to trolls.
Well, I think she's going to get. I think they're just going to pension her out. So she's going to have her money, and but continue to do this, which I think is wonderful. And I kudos to her and Scott and Chris, and I hope they continue to push the message forward and wake up as many people as they possibly can.
It's an excellent program. He explains it. She reports on it from a physicist standpoint. It makes a lot of sense. She's absolutely convinced that there may be 2, 3, or 4 brown dwarf stars in the very close vicinity of the perihelion. And
what's more important, Richard, is that I'm convinced and that you're convinced because they've shown proof. It's not some nonsensical idea of talking about this on a whim without any proof.
Robert,
they've shown
Robert, you're gonna have to send me some links for that so I can check it out. And Richard, we got to take another call. So anything else, my friend?
I think that's all. You gentlemen have been fantastic, very knowledgeable. Michael, I stumbled upon your site maybe 3 months ago, and I wish I stumbled onto it a lot earlier. You're one of the best, coolest guests I've seen yet, and you call a spade, and just like your guests, you're all the same fabric.
Well, thank you.
I love
See, Michael, what did I tell you? It catches on like wildfire, brother.
It does. Well, thank you, Richard. I appreciate it, and thank you so much for your call. It was great talking to you.
Yeah, wish me the best of luck in my survival prowess.
I do. Hey, you're better off than me. I'm 2 hours from the ocean, so I'm as good as shark food. So
yeah, but you're gonna move. You're gonna move in the last minute. You have a plan B, I'm sure.
Yeah, surfboard with a motor.
Richard, take care, buddy.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Richard. All right, let's get another call. We got a break coming up in about 20 minutes. So we've got 304 area code just coming out of, I think, West Virginia. Welcome aboard.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, thank you for blowing the galactic BS out of the water the other night and steam in my butt. Really, that's going to solve my eye problem, cure my eye disease? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Was that you? Were you the one who called in about the eyes?
Yes, that was me, and I don't know if I've prompted you to get upset, and if I did, I'm sorry.
No, that's quite all right. I needed your call. Your call kind of gave me a kick in the butt. I said, all right, enough of this.
I listen to you every night. I don't call every night, but I do listen to you every night.
Well, I appreciate it. And listen, I know not everybody could get to Mexico, but that stem cell thing I was telling you about is real. I mean, it probably would help you. I don't know for sure, but, my girlfriend's father, he has a lung disease, and that's what he would need. But he can't travel to Mexico, so he's not getting the treatment he needs. But anyways,
now I have a question for all three of you guys. And Mike, it kind of leans towards you. The way everything's going with politically speaking and astrologically, and in the stars and everything. You had a guest on, and I can't think of his name, the guy that did the Sonny Bono thing before he died. What was his name? It's losing my head. He was did a bunch of congressional hearings as to Bob Fletcher. There we go.
Oh yes, Bob Fletcher. Yeah.
Bob Fletcher
Do you
died?
guys think? No, not died. Sonny Bono. He was investigating the where the money went and everything and the corruption, but it involves with Planet X and everything. My question is, are we getting prepared for martial law like Fletcher said? I mean, the way things are going with the political spectrum and everything, it just seems like the timing's right.
I think that martial law could be in order if people go crazy. Like it looks like it's, it's we're on thin ice. I think in this country right now. There's this bend but don't break, thankfully, attitude right now. But I don't know. It could happen, sure. I mean, if you got everybody going to war with each other here, they'd have to do it, right?
I mean, well, I'm asking, is that the cover for this planet to come and the elite to go into the underground bombs or deep underground bases or domes, whatever they are? I mean, is this the cover that we're witnessing?
Well, if I may interject, yes, I think that was the plan. But now that President Trump is in office, I think that plan was, brought out, and they're not going to be able to follow that scenario, which is a really good thing because now all these buffoons, these billionaire buffoons who think that, they're going to escape this whole thing, well, guess what? They're going to be up on top of us because it's not going to happen.
Right. I mean, and and I have another bombshell to break to you, Mike. Mr. Mike.
Sure.
You know who Larry Nickel is, right?
Oh yes, I'm well aware.
All right. Well, there's a tape, a recording of Hillary, Podesta, Comey, Condoleezza Rice, and the other lady, the Attorney General Lynch, before the election, about how 14 days to 10 days outside of the election for Comey to drop the investigation like he did. Now, I haven't heard the tape or the recording, but I do know that Larry Nichols has this or can get the tape. I think this is huge, and this could break things wide open if this gets out.
Well, I had spoke with him, me and Rascala had spoke with him, last year. I think it was last year. Yeah, it was last year. And we had a private conversation. He was going to come on the show, and he had to go in for an emergency surgery, and it never happened. But he told us a lot, how he was actually a hitman for the Clintons. I mean, he gave he told us a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah, I believe it, and that's why what I'm telling you was dropped on John B. Wells's Caravan to Midnight a week or two ago, and I called into InfoWars today and said the same thing. But nobody, I don't know if anybody will follow up and get a hold of Larry and say, "Hey, Larry, does this tape really exist?"
Oh, I'll get a hold of Larry. I'll gladly get a hold of him and ask him. Sure.
I mean, because the way things are going, I want to see that witch behind bars so bad.
Yeah, so do I. I want to see her and Lynch and all of them. Obama, I hope they catch him too, and he gets up there too. Although I doubt it, but
I mean, I don't mean to bring politics up to you guys.
No, it's
all
okay.
about Planet X, but it's
all part of it. It's all part of it.
Yeah, it just seems like the politics is a cover for, I mean, and about your brown dwarf. I don't believe we're binary. I believe we're in a trinary system.
I would go with that too. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. We probably are.
And I think A squared plus B squared equals C squared is the key to unlocking it.
That's 369.
Absolutely.
369.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think Pythagoras was something. Tesla and Einstein, they were all on to something.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't want to waste any more of your guys' time. Thank you for the call. And, Mike, thank you for blowing the galactic BS out of the water. I appreciate that. So
all right. Thank you, brother. And, hey, send an email sometime because I wouldn't mind. I'll help you research and see if we could find anything that might help you. I ain't going to sell you anything, but I'll give you the information I find.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, and have a great one.
Buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the call, and you know, it's nice to hear from somebody who called in that night. You know,
I'll tell you what's really nice, Michael, is you have such an informed audience. That's what I love, man. It's just you just don't put up with the BS.
They are. I mean, listen. I have to admit, I did put up with that BS a little too long with those guys.
Yeah, well, but you gave it its due diligence. You know what? You gave it enough noose around its neck to hang itself. And
well, yeah, we wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure. I mean, my friends here were researching hard, and so you know, I definitely wanted to give them a chance to. So you know, gladly. I mean, I hate to say it, but the computer breaking down postponed it for a week, which gave us all the time we needed to pull up everything we were looking for. So. But yeah, you know what we do. We have great listeners, and I realize the people who come and they say, "Oh, I'm not listening no more because of what you did." They were only listening that night, and they were listening because they followed the BS, and so they weren't going to listen again anyways until the BS came back on. So, which it's never going to again. So, anyways.
I love it. I love it, Michael. And I didn't have any idea when I called in that night because I was just simply trying to say, look, you know, you used to say this, now you're saying this.
I knew what you were doing. That's why I left you.
That?
That's why I left you go and let you keep going. And then you know, the scam mother there is saying, okay, that's it. Relieve yourself of this call. Like she
right.
command you. That's funny.
I just found it interesting. That you just let it unfold, and I was like, oh wow, I had no idea, and that was totally awesome, man. I love what you do. I can't say it over and over. There's so many people out there who just let that stuff slide, but you don't.
You know what's funny?
I can't tell you how much I appreciate that.
I just want to say this really quick. Since that's happened, since that incident's happened, I've seen a lot of people who are in their clan, and you know who you are, and boy, are they trying to separate themselves from each other now. It's like all of a sudden, it's like, just for the record, I don't have anything to do with them. You know, and this is what I'm getting a lot of. And it's like, don't worry, I'm not making a career out of busting frauds. But if you come on my show and you screw around and do the wrong thing, which they did, they were attacking guests like Dr. Rand. So we start taking a look into the behind the curtain, and boy, we didn't like what we found. So, you know, it's behave. You stay off the radar, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but imagine how exciting it keeps things.
It does. You know what? It's a relief that it's finally over. I mean, I'm actually relaxed tonight. Before, it was like I knew my night was going to go to 5 in the morning because I had to get with Daryl and Katie, and they had to give me everything they found, and then I had to do my. Believe me, we did our research, so we know what we're talking about. I mean, anyway.
By the way,
let me ask
Daryl
you,
and Katie.
Let me ask you guys this real quick, before you say that, Dr. Rand. In your contact with ETs, did ETs ever give you the power to go to the sun and change the batteries and change the pins in Saturn and all that good stuff? You didn't get that, did you?
No, I never made it to that classroom.
All right, just checking. But go ahead, Dr. Rand. Speaking of Katie and Daryl.
Well, what I did was, after I had my initial conversations with them, they asked me, you know, if there was anything that either I needed to tell them or if I had anything to say about the attacks that I had undergone as early as 07, 08, and 09. And what I told them was, you know, just for the fun of it, I'm going to put together an extended biographic look at my resume and all the things that I can attest to with pictures and diagrams and whatever. And so I put together, I don't know, it was probably 30, 40 pages of documentation absolutely refuting all of the terrible things that they were saying and posting and all this and all that. And I had never done that. I had never decided to defend myself before because I didn't have anything to defend myself
for. I didn't do anything wrong. I mean, I am who I am, and I am as I am, and as you said, you are what you are. Okay? So, I put this, I call it my little dossier. Okay? I mean, Trump had his dossier. I put my own dossier together, and I'm glad I did, because I discovered more positive things about me that I'd forgotten about, things that I've done, places I've been, awards that I've received, my record industry experience, and I had a fabulous Army career. Boy, I'll tell you one thing, I know a lot of people bitch and moan about the military, but I had an absolutely idyllic 3 years in the Army. Great story.
Katie says she could vouch for Dr. Wren. He sent a massive book with resume and so on.
Oh,
so
you talked to her?
Oh, they're here. They help moderate the chat room as well. So.
Oh, are they connected to us tonight?
Oh yeah, they're here. They can.
Hey guys, how are you? Well, I told them I wanted to do this because I wanted to have them feel secure about who they're dealing with, okay? I also told them that this new book is going to be very, very revealing, and I feel that once it's out, it's going to answer a lot of questions about what ETs, UTs are ultra-terrestrials. By the way, the difference is the ETs are pretty much localized extraterrestrials. Okay, the UTs, the ultra-terrestrials, those are the ones above in the pack. I hope this didn't sound wrong. There are as many levels of ETs and UTs out there as you can imagine. There are different races and cultures here on the Earth. Okay, and what I tried to do in this book, told through the story of my relationship with Elon, was I learned more information in that one night that I spent with him and his family and the crew on that ship. I learned more about the universe and about the Earth and about the planets and everything that's taking place, which set me up to become the reality engineer that I was originally drafted to be at the beginning of my OBEs at 3.5 to 4 years old when they started. And it's taken literally 50 years to write this book. And I go into all the background of it in the very beginning of the book. And I'm so grateful for you, Michael, and Peter and the Neelys for giving me the chance to get this story out there. I got to tell you, I was really brutalized. I was really traumatized putting the Return of Planet X out. It was an absolutely brutal experience.
And Dr. Wren, I seen what they tried to do to you. As a matter of fact, if you remember correctly, I actually took battle with some of them.
I know you did.
Happy to say I won that.
Well, that's why whenever you call, like tonight, I would go into a corner and beat my head against the wall if I ever failed to come to your help or your rescue or to do anything that you asked me to do, because you've always treated me fairly. Hell, you and I go back to the day that book was published, Michael.
Yeah, you were like one of my first guests that I had on the show, and you made it easy for me because I still had a little stage fright there, and I got you on it. Boy, you were just giving me all kinds of information about Planet X. I said, oh, this is great. But hey, guys, hang on. We've got to take our last break. And then when we come back, we'll take another call or somebody hanging on the line. Just be patient. I promise we'll get you when we come back. This is Late Night in the Middle. What? Oh, so now I'm being told that. hey, I'm just giving updates. I'm being told that the scam mother is now saying that she is a clone. I see. So it was the clone that did all the bad things. Damn those evil clones. I'm Michael Vera. This is Late Night in the Midlands. I just can't take it anymore. Oh, we'll be right back, folks. Don't go. By the way, I'm sorry, but I've got to mute you over there on Facebook and on YouTube so that I don't get striked over there for using copyright music.
Who are interested in the topics and guests that the L&M Radio Network brings to you. During the live shows, the hosts will even visit the chat room and chat with you, the listener. Click on the big red Chat and Listen button at the top of the website and join us. No subscription is needed at either lnmradionetwork.com or latenightinthemidlands.com.
Brad Olson is an award-winning author and researcher and has spent multiple years proving his works. His books have reached a wide audience across the country and around the world and have won numerous awards. He has appeared on dozens of television and nationally syndicated radio shows over the course of 2 decades. His book, Future Esoteric, goes behind the official story, revealing there is also an alternative narrative. The newly revised second edition includes more images, captions, and information than ever before. Future Esoteric examines the metaphysical nature of reality and the storyline of what is not being told to the mass majority of people. You can find his books at cccpublishing.com or click on one of his many banners on the L&M Radio Network site at lnmradionetwork.com.
Folks, I would like to recommend a great YouTube channel for those of you who can't get enough of Late Night in the Midlands or the truth in general. Try Non-Human Entities. Non-Human Entities supports L&M, and L&M would like you all to support them by going to visit Non-Human Entities on YouTube. That's Non-Human Entities on YouTube, or just click the banner on the L&M Radio Network website that says Non-Human Entities. L&M Radio has joined with the Hardened Structures team to provide state-of-the-art survival shelter design and build services at L&M Radio exclusive rates. Hardened Structures, with over 21 years experience in military, commercial, and private shelter design build services, are also offering L&M Radio listeners a free consultation, normally a $500 value. So click on the Hardened Structures banner on the right-hand side of latenightinthemidlands.com to receive your special offer today. Do you find yourself stuck to the TV watching fake news, fake drug commercials, and fake reality shows? Do you live a fake life because of the fake programming, brainwashing you every second of every minute you spend in a trance, uploading the most damaging and most mind-controlling information with an upload speed never before tested by the human brain, therefore turning your brain to pure mush and leaving you for not only stupid and uninformed, but dead if they get their way? You got to slow your roll, baby, and get with the program. the Late Night in the Midlands program. We are antivirus and anti-malware for the mind, traveling from L&M to your brain, and from your brain to your mind, and from your mind to your body, and from your body to your cravings. Your cravings for more truth and less BS. Late Night in the Midlands, turning off the fake, turning on the light.
Hey guys, I'm Carly Kloss, and I just created my own website with Wix.
Go to Wix.com to create your stunning website today. Choose from hundreds of templates. Drag and drop anything into place. Change the text to make it yours. And show who you are by adding your own images. With a beautiful gallery, everyone can see your best work and share it with the world. You can easily play and move things around whenever you want. Add your own videos to bring your site to life. And connect your social channels in a click. You can feel confident your website will look stunning on every device. With Wix, you can easily do it all yourself. Go to Wix.com. Create your stunning website today.
what drives me mad. You're the best I never had, but I always had you through the night. Did I go too far? If I did, then I was wrong. Should've known this happens every time. When I thought we were just warming up, you were turning so cold. If I think I'm in love, I'm the only one who'll ever know. Well, maybe it was in my mind. And if I ever told a lie, I'd lie and say that you were mine. And if I ever told a lie, I'd lie and say that you were mine. Yeah, you started this, took me down and I gave in. Said it's over, then you're all over me. Could you promise me, never promise me a thing? 'Cause I hear the things I wanna believe. When I thought we were just floating up, you were turning so cold. If I think I'm in love, I'm the only one who'll ever know. Well, maybe it was in my mind. And if I ever told a lie, I'd lie and say that you were mine. And if I ever told a lie, I'd lie and say that you were mine. I'd lie and say that you were mine. I'd lie and say that you were mine. I'd lie and say that you were I'd lie and say that you were mine. I'd lie and say that you were mine. I'd lie and say that you were mine.
Your music won't skip a beat. No ads, all sing along.
What do you mean? Oh, when you nod your head yes, but you wanna say no. What do you mean? Hey, when you don't want me to move, but you tell me to go. What do you mean? Oh, what do you mean? Said you're running out of time. What do you mean? Oh, what do you mean? saying. Trying to catch the beat, make up your heart. Don't know if you're happy or complaining. Don't want for us to end, where do I start? Go to the left and you wanna turn right. Wanna argue all day, making love all night. But you're all doing down and this way. Oh, I really wanna know, what do you need? You're overprotective when I'm leaving. Trying to compromise, but I can't win. You wanna make a point, but you keep preaching. You had me from the start, won't let this end. But you wanna go to the left, and you wanna turn right. Wanna argue all day, making love all night. But you're all doing down and this way. Oh, I really wanna know, what do you need? Said you're running out of time, what do you mean? Let it break your mind, what do you mean?
Drop that shit.
highest highs and the lowest lows. No one chased me like you do. My best mistake was you. And you're my sweet affliction, 'cause you hurt me right, but you do it nice. Round in circles, here we go. Yeah. But I still stay, 'cause already you're so won't you stay? Oh, won't you take me home? But I still stay, 'cause oh, won't you take me home? Take me home. silhouette with my fingertips. Trace out my regrets like they don't exist. I'm going numb, myself and your affection. I'm going numb, losing our perfection. Don't take it lightly. We could die in the moment, lost in slow motion. We could die in the moment. We won't get away this time. No, we wasted all our brighter days. So close your eyes, the storm is coming one last time. Our hope is washed away. Now I'm left to stand. What just fade away? I wanna this time. Oh, we wasted our brighter days. So close your eyes, the storm is coming one last time. It's washed away. Now I'm left to stand. Watch us fade away. Watch us fade. Watch us fade. I watch us fade. And watch us